Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Brandon. Whenever I wasn't gonna film this video first, but I've just been thinking about it, so I need to tell this story. Okay, so this is the story of the worst neighbor ever. Anyone comes to me and try to talk to me about their neighbors, girl, no, you don't even know. My neighbor was the worst. And I have receipts, don't worry. I have some, over the years I've accumulated some videos or recordings from myself and my past roommates that's lived here with me before. So let's get started with the story. I guess we should start with, okay, so I moved into this place about 6 years ago, maybe, around there. And this is like a duplex, so we own the top unit, and then the downstairs unit is a separate person, and someone owns that, okay? When I first moved in here, there was an old man that lived in there, or down there, and I didn't see him. So I had been living here for like over a year or maybe 2 years, and I've never seen this man. I've never heard him. He didn't drive. He never left his house. The only reason that I knew he was for sure down there is there was this lady, and we're gonna call her Sarah. She used to come, and she was like his caretaker maybe. So she would come by, like, I would say maybe every month, once a month or less. Like, she wasn't here often. Yeah, so this old man was there, and one day I found out that he had died because he had one of those water things in his house where he like dispenses water, and someone knocked on my door and they were here to pick it up, but he wasn't sure which. Our doors are next door to each other, so he wasn't sure which apartment or condo was his, and he told me that he was supposed to pick up this thing because the guy had died, right? After he died, I guess he had no family or anybody, because Sarah now inherited this unit, this condo unit, and she, you know, from my knowledge, she had only met him through like some rehabilitation stuff. Like she did like physical therapy or something, and he was like her patient or something. And she was the only person he knew, so she inherited it. And let me tell you this, it wasn't like, woohoo, I just inherited this place. Like, this man had been living down there for who knows how long, like, never left. Like, it wasn't, like, in good shape. And the only reason I know that is because they started construction on it shortly after he passed away, and I became kind of friends with the handyman, and, you know, he was just, like, telling me whatever. So, during this construction, this is where it gets good. During this construction that we're doing down there, Sarah's sister, who had just had like a stroke or something, and she has some sort of disability or like thing where her joints disintegrate. So she moves in to oversee the construction, right? And at first, like, you know, I didn't even notice that she was here. Like, I didn't even know somebody was down there. You know, she was supposed to just be watching his construction. Like, they were building walls and tearing stuff down. And she was living in there apparently, but she stayed in like one room. I guess she wasn't really mobile, so she kind of just lived out of one room. And she never came outside. We never saw her. But that is when the screaming began. Okay, when I say screaming, I don't mean just like a scream here and there. I just mean a constant wailing for hours upon hours every single day, okay? Like, at night, at day, anytime. I guess the first time that we actually heard it, it was very scary. Like, it was, I'm gonna let y'all listen to it in a little bit, don't worry. But her screaming was so like wailing and long and consistent, and just for hours straight. So the first time that we heard this, I thought like maybe she was hurt. I know there's a construction site down there. Like I didn't know what happened. Like she was just screaming. And this is at like 10 o'clock at night. So she's screaming like bloody murder. And so I thought she was hurt, but I wasn't going to go down there. Like we don't, mess around with neighbors like that around here. So we called the cops to go check on her. And whenever the cops come, they're like knocking on the door, and her window is right next to the door. So like she's yelling through the door like I'm disabled, I can't come to the door, stop knocking on my door, leave me alone, all this stuff to the police. And they're like, ma'am, like, are you okay? Finally, like, this went on for like almost an hour of them. Like at this point the cops were like, I could hear them talking too, and they were like, something's not right, like we need to see this woman. Well, finally she like comes to the door, and she was screaming at them and telling them that she's gonna get them all fired for disturbing her. And but in the end, I guess she was actually okay. She was just disabled, and she was just like screaming terribly, right? This went on for years, right? So she would scream, and it was almost to the point where like we just got used to it. Like the neighbors on the other side, they all heard it too. Like they were, we're the ones who were living right above her. So every time I see neighbors, they were like, what is this? Like what's going on? And we're just like, we don't know. And my friends, she would terrify them. Like in the middle, like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, they would go to sleep. They'd be on the couch, like where I'm sitting right now, and you could hear it fully coming from downstairs, like just sitting right here. Like it was so loud. I mean, there's nothing we could do. We tried calling the cops. They didn't do anything, So let me tell you this. We got tired of this lady real quick, okay? So we had like all come up with all these plans, like with the neighbors and everyone. And like our manager of the property pretty much told us like there's nothing that they can do, because like they don't want to get sued because this lady's disabled and like they can't evict her and all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure there's a way around that, but the plan was for all of us to collectively, anytime we hear her screaming, whether it be daylight or nighttime, especially at nighttime, just call the cops and pretty much, call the cops over and over and over again anonymously, just to get them to come out here, and like then maybe they could start a case or something. I don't know. So we did that for a while, and it didn't work. The cops stopped coming. Like we'd be like the lady screaming or someone screaming, or like she might be hurt, and then they would be like, okay, we'll send someone out, and literally like they wouldn't not come. They just stopped coming. So that didn't work. So let me see where I am. I wrote all this down so I can keep track. Mind you, after we called the police on her, like a few years later, she just got so fed up with all the neighbors that calling the cops on her, that she would just call the cops on everybody for like no reason whatsoever. So like, and then of course the cops stopped coming when she called them too, like on everyone else. She would call noise complaints on us. Like I would literally be on the balcony outside on the phone with my brother, and not even late, like it would be nighttime, but not even late, and she would call on me saying that I'm playing music and having a party. I'm like, I'm just on the phone, like and I was like, oh, you got a noise complaint, it probably came from downstairs, like that's where the noise comes from. And they were like, no, it was her that called. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So the cops are over her, I'm over her. Like apparently she's supposed to be like not doing well, right? So the only reason she's here is so she doesn't have to be into like a living, like a home. She started getting like better. Not the screaming, like her body actually like was healing, I guess, so she could actually start walking again and all this other stuff. But like the screaming never stopped. That was forever. So she would start coming outside. Oh my gosh. When she started coming outside, it's like she never slept. Like she slept the whole time, I guess, and now she's not sleeping no more, because she would be inside screaming, she would be outside screaming, she would be walking around with her walker. We have like all these sidewalks like throughout the complex, and like she would constantly sweep the sidewalks and like get so mad like at people for like, I don't know, like not taking care of their plants the right way. She would like tell them that she was like a master gardener. She was like a compulsive liar too. She would tell them that she was like a master gardener and like all this. I mean, this is lady's like out on her with her walker, with like these pickup, like an extended pickup hands. Like she would like pick up stuff, and she would pick up sticks and leaves, and like she was like doing something, and she would always complain to all the people like, well, this complex never does anything. We pay all this money and they never do anything. But like they did. Like we had a lawn service, and they came and cleaned the parking lot and like cut the grass and like kept up with the trees and all that. And this lady would yell at them. So like when they would come out, like this guy would be like on a lawnmower, and she would like flag him down. It's like a little like 18-year-old kid, like in the summertime, like extra money. And she would start yelling at him and like talking about all this money that she pays to live here and how they don't do a good job. And this guy's like, they just told me to come here and cut the grass. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like I just work. I'm just doing this for a job. She would yell at them. She yelled at the male people. Oh my gosh. She would cuss out the male people. I don't know, for no stupid stuff. Like there was no real reasons, you know? So she would cuss them out all the time. She would yell at anyone. Oh my gosh. And that's when she started collecting cats, because she would, we had some cats around here. Maybe like 4 cats that were like in the neighborhood kind of, and she eventually started feeding them, and they started coming like to her house, and she like named them. And at this point she moved them to inside her house, so like she like adopted them, I guess, off the streets. You know, was feeding them, and you know, that part I'll get to in a minute. But, oh, okay, so here's the kicker. She's like this crazy hoarder too. Like, I'm not talking about like, you know, your friend's house is messy and you call him a hoarder. Like, no, she was a hoarder. She had all these, I don't even know how she got this stuff here, because I don't remember this part, but somehow after they took all the stuff out of the house, like they left some of it in there, but she brought a lot of her own stuff to the house. Because, oh, by the way, they never finished the construction. They stopped doing construction like halfway through. They did like her room, but they never did her room. They did like one of the rooms. And then like the only reason I know this is because like you can see into the house, because the living room had like the sunroom attached to it kind of. And she had no curtains or anything. You could see right through her house. And it was just full of junk, antiques, lamps, books, furniture, fish tanks, just random, just lawn chairs. Just, it was full. Like there was a piece of the house that was full to the top, to the roof, with just stuff, and you could see that. And it's like almost like she was like making like a wall instead of like putting up curtains, because like she was like building this wall in front of it, so like you couldn't see, but you could still like see through it. And so she was definitely hoarding, and like she would go to the dumpster with her walker, right, and like look through the dumpster, and then she would like pull stuff out. Like she would be digging in the dumpster with her little grabby arm and like pulling stuff out, and like I would just watch her like out the window or on the balcony. Like I can see everything she does, and I definitely can hear her, because the whole time she's screaming, she's like wah wah wah, over and over again. Okay, hi. Over and over again, right? So, I guess I have to let you, okay, let me see if I can find some, this sound is never gonna, like, get out of your head. Let's see. Oh, that's it. So, I was gonna, like, insert this, but I think I can just play it on this one, because I don't have, like, all my stuff. Okay. So, I don't know if you can hear it really well, but what she's actually doing right now, it's nighttime. It says it was at 8:51 at night. This is from a few years ago. She's actually sweeping the sidewalk like I told you, and as she's sweeping it, she's yelling. So this is her sweeping and yelling. And she's sweeping the sidewalk, like not even her porch. Okay, so that way you can kind of tell like what the screaming actually sounds like, right? So another thing that she's like notorious for is she always complains on the phone, right? So she's the person who calls up and, you know, the pizza place and was just like, I used to be in restaurants, I used to be a manager, I know customer service, and this just isn't right. And it's just like stupid stuff. And like, it always gets to the point where they're like gonna try to give her something for free. And then she was like, no, I don't want it for free. I just want you to know what's going on in your store or whatever. And it was always like really dumb stuff. And the grocery store that's next to my house, I was in there one day and she was in there and she was yelling at the manager, and I buy scratch offs there all the time. So like, I know I see them like all the time. And so like after she left, I was like, oh, I see you met my neighbor. And she was like, that's your neighbor? I was like, yeah. And she was like, that lady is crazy. She always comes in here acting a fool and screaming and like yelling at us for nothing. And, you know, she always is like digging through the trash cans, because she used to go to the trash cans and get the old scratch off tickets out that people threw away. This is like her hoarder mentality. And I heard her talking to our other neighbor who's her friend, kind of, but like she yells at him all the time. She always yells at him and like is so mean to him, but he like drives her around and stuff. And so she was telling him, he was like, why do you have that? Oh, she had brought all these Winn-Dixie bags, right? Home. She would bring all these bags home, and like, she was like, where's my scratch off bag? Where's my scratch off? He's like, you didn't buy any scratch offs. And she's like, I know, I didn't buy any scratch off, but I got the ones, the losers. You don't even know anything. You're so stupid. You know, if you win a big amount of prize, if you have losing scratch offs, you can use it towards the taxes, which is true, but you have to play first. Like, you're not going to win if you don't play them. She's literally just collecting losers. Like, she's not buying any scratch offs. I thought that was so weird, but that's just like her hoarding mentality. I know that's like part of it. Like, she thinks that she needs them. And oh my gosh, she did this with everything. She had, junk everywhere. Oh, her balcony that was underneath. Oh, so hers was a patio. Mine's a balcony over hers. Was covered in trash and just bags and cans of nothing. Just disgusting. It looked like trash. Like, honestly, that was the only thing we could really call like the homeowners about, that they would actually do anything, because that is like against the actual contract that you have to keep that maintained. And so every time she would do it, we would call on the neighbor that she's kind of friends with would come and clean up for her. So, but that happened like 3 times, but it was most of the time a disaster. It got to the point where like someone called, and then like someone have to clean it up, and she couldn't clean it up. She can't even move hardly. Like, she can walk with her walker, but oh my gosh. She was just, let me get back to my list. Okay. So she used to call and complain on the phone all the time. Let's see if I can find that one for you, because someone sent me this. Oh, here it is. Okay. Okay. So this is her talking on the phone to somebody, like some sort of bill collector or bank or something, because she's talking about money. But this is how she talks to people on the phone and in real life. So Okay, so I have a timestamp on this. Someone sent this to me, but I do have the timestamp for it. That was recorded at 10:13 p.m., right? So she always is doing this crazy stuff. So anyway, so you can kind of see like what she sounds like, and like that she's just kind of like mean. And like the thing about it was like she was never nice. Like all the neighbors, she was so mean to everyone. Like people try to like help her, they would, try to help her, give her, tell them that they would come help her if she needed anything. She would cuss them out. And I guess she was just angry and like sad, but like honestly, like you can't do that. Like like if you're gonna have like a sad life, like sorry. We've gotten into it quite a few times. I was saying that I never really talked to her, but that's not true because there has been a few instances whenever we've had like an altercation with her. There was one night I was coming home from like going out, and I couldn't get into my house. I didn't have the key or whatever, so I was trying to like jiggle the door handle, like trying to see if I could like break into my house. And her window again is right by her door, and she was yelling at me through the window, saying like, "Go," because this was at like, I don't know, midnight, and she was like, "Go inside, be quiet, stop being loud, be quiet." And then I started yelling back through the window, so I was like, if anyone's being loud up in here, it's you, not us. And going at it. And I've had a few altercations with her to the point where like, because like I said, when she did start coming outside, she was always outside. So like I was happy like when it was raining, or honestly when it got too cold, she couldn't come outside. So like we live in Florida, so around January, maybe February, she like couldn't come outside. It was actually too cold for her. So that was like a piece and like a break, like when she didn't come outside, because she was outside all the time. But we had enough altercations on and off, like just a couple, but enough to where like she knows I don't like her. I know she doesn't like me. If I was like leaving my house and she was outside, because she never used her front door, by the way, she always used her patio door. So she would always come around the corner like surprise. And we wouldn't even make eye contact because there was no need for that. And we whatever, we knew that we didn't like each other. And honestly, I didn't like seeing her. Like every time I saw her, it was crazy. And it was like all our neighbors had like this whole like, we just give each other the look like, there she is. Let's see. Oh, also one time, before she started going outside, she used to, before she started coming outside, she was still screaming inside. And we had a psychic come over one time for a group reading for my friend's birthday. And she's a really good psychic. Love her. As soon as she came inside, and the lady wasn't screaming at this point, she wasn't screaming right now. But as soon as the psychic got up here upstairs and she sat down, she was just like, whoa, what is going on downstairs? And we're all like, because we all know there was like 10 of us here, like, and we're all like, what? Like, you tell us, you're the psychic. She was like, there is a bad energy down there. And she's like, I can just see this lady screaming all the time. Why is she screaming? And we're like, we don't know. Yeah, she does scream. She screams all the time. And the psychic was like, I don't know what's going on with her, but that's some dark energy. And like, that is bad. And like, I just see her screaming and it's like not good. And so we're like, oh my gosh, she's a real psychic. She knows about the screaming lady. So the screaming, we got used to, right? A part that we didn't get used to, this is going to kind of come to the end of this because I can already see it's going to be super long. The smell. Remember I told you about those cats that she was adopting off the streets? Well, they were inside, right? Mind you, this lady is kind of still, even though she can walk around, like, I don't think she can bend over. I don't think she can do anything. No one's cleaning up after these cats, like, at all. And so the smell starts, right? And it started like we would be on the balcony, my friends and I, or just me or anyone, we'd be on the balcony and like her door would open. And there would be many times that we would be out there and she would come outside. But we would just kind of ignore her and just keep going about our business. I mean, because it's our house. So, But she used to put, the funny thing is she used to blare music out so loud, louder than her yelling. But the thing was, like, she played good music. Like, she was always listening to, like, Gwen Stefani, and she was always listening to, like, you know, NSYNC and, like, good songs, Bruno Mars. Like, this lady was old and decrepit, but she had a good taste in music. That's all she did was listen to music. And she had good music taste, so, you know, that part I can give to her. But every time she would open her door, it would be like just like, if you could see it almost, it was just like the smell would just like come like in a wave over you. And it was the worst. It was like dead cat and like cat litter and just the worst smell ever. Okay, so first it started like that. Then it started getting so bad that it started like coming up through the floor. Like I could smell it in my house for like, it started really slow. Anyway, the smell was coming into my house. And at this point, I was contacting by the way, our, at the time, our homeowners was kind of a joke. Like the property manager, this lady, like, we'd been through like a couple already. And like the lady downstairs was like making these people quit. Like they don't want to deal with it. Everyone was complaining. Like they just ended up quitting because of this lady. Well, I told this lady, like, the smell is coming in my house. Like, come to my house. Like, you can smell it for yourself. There has to be something you can do. Like, we need to call somebody, like, social services to come out here or, like, help, you know, try to fix this. Or, like, see, like, because I know it's bad down there. I can see in there, too, and I know it's not good. And the smell is, like, unlivable. They would condemn her house if they went in. Which, at this point, like, I never wanted to do anything like that. I never wanted to call the cops on her. I just wanted to, like, keep my peace. But at this point, like, it was affecting my life, too. And, like, the smell was so bad. And, like, inside the house, like, at the time, we didn't have any roommates at the time. But, right whenever it started getting really bad, I had my friend move in with me. And so like that was another motivation because now my friend is paying rent here and like now she has to deal with the smell. So like we have to do something about the smell. So someone ended up calling social services on her before this for digging the dumpster. One of the neighbors saw her digging the dumpster and like taking out stuff. And then like the lady had literally went to the dumpster right after her and there was like maggots in there and like just nasty, and she was like, that lady shouldn't be digging around in here. So they called social services on her and they came. I was home when they came and they knocked on the front door, but like I said, she doesn't use the front door, so they ended up going to the side door, which is her patio, and knocking on, and she was already outside. And so they were talking to her. It was a police officer and a social service person. The police officer ended up leaving because the lady was like, okay, I'm good. And the lady never went into her house. She never smelled the smell. She never saw the condition of the house. This lady was like a mastermind, I tell you. Like she, you know, like I said, she was a compulsive liar. She's always telling like these crazy stories, and like she was really, really smart. Like she knew stuff though. Like I heard her talking about stuff that she does know about, and like she knew what was going on, right? She was defending herself and like making it seem like she was fine. Like she had something was wrong with her leg apparently, because I remember the lady asking her like, what's wrong with your leg? She's like, oh, I just went to the doctor today, which she didn't. She had been outside all day. I wanted to tell that lady that, but you know, I didn't. I just mind my own business. The lady asked her if she had any pets, and she said no. She straight up said, no, I don't have any pets. But mind you, I went downstairs. I was walking by her patio later that day, and I saw a giant bag of cat food. Like I don't know, like a 10-pound bag of cat food she had on her balcony and on the patio. And like the social service lady just like believed her and was like, oh, you don't have any pets. Like, okay. So, oh gosh. Okay, so anyway, the smell came. And there would be times, though, that she would be gone for a little bit, because I think she went to the hospital a couple times and, like, you know, went to the doctor and, like, she wasn't good enough to come back. So there would be times where she would be gone for, like, 2 weeks, and I'd be like, you know, I haven't heard her or seen her in a minute. What's going on, you know? Well, one day I woke up and I was leaving for work, and one of my friends is a police officer, and there was all these police officers, like, at the side of my building, kind of like over to the side, and like I knew instantly what happened. I knew that she had died because I just felt it. I don't know. Well, I messaged my friend. She was over there and I had to go to work, so I messaged her, like, hey, what happened? She goes, oh, that lady, the screaming lady under you, she died, and she'd been in there for like a week, and like I can't even tell you this. Oh my God. Like, I don't want to say that the cats were like messing with her body, but it was implied. So that part. But yeah, so she actually died, and when she died, of course, all the police officers went into the house. They saw the condition of the house. They said it was unlivable, too extreme. Just, it was bad, bad, bad. So they had to have someone come out and like professionally clean the whole unit, because not only because she died in it, but also it had just been so bad. Apparently, while she was down there, like not alive, the cats were like trying to get food and water, and so they turned on like one of the faucets in the house, and the water like was running for like a week straight in there. One of the cats died, I think, too, but there was a while after that that the cats were still inside, but somebody came and took care of it. Now there's nothing. The whole place is cleaned out. Now we're back to Sarah, because she keeps coming over here, because you know she's gonna have to fix that place up and sell it or something. But oh my gosh. Anyway, I'm gonna have to cut some of this down. I don't know, is this a video that you guys like? You know, for me, I may not be able to portray how bad it really was just by telling you, but you know, it was bad. Like the smell, the yelling, you know, all of that. And it was just like coming home to a nightmare like almost every day. And it was just like, you can't go on the patio because she's out there and it smells. You can't go inside because, you know, it's screaming and the smell is coming inside now. And it was rough. But that's just as much as I can kind of remember. And, you know, it's sad that she passed away, but, you know, honestly, like it was hard. It was hard to live above her for that long. And just all the nonsense that we dealt with, and everyone that lived here, not just in my, you know, condo, but the neighbors, you know, the lawn people, you know, oh my gosh, the pizza delivery people, she would yell at them, oh, the cab companies, oh my gosh. She used to take cabs everywhere and like yell at the cab drivers, and like she was disabled, she would just be screaming the whole time. Like she would make the cab driver drive over the sidewalk into the grass right next to her house, because she was like, I can't get over there. But I'm like, girl, I see you walk there every day. I see you walk back and forth to that dumpster every day. You say you can't walk there, but you made this cab driver come to your door. Right. So she was manipulative and all this other stuff too. So, you know. Anyway, on that note, I'm starting this new channel, Brandon's Schoolin Life. If you want to follow me, you can. I'm planning on, most of my videos aren't going to be like this. I mean, if you want, I guess. But, like, I want to do stuff like, you know, just make fun videos and, you know, not really have a, you know, just me talking all the time. Like, I got way more talents than that. So, okay. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe. There'll be more coming. If you like kind of what I'm doing in the future, you know, just let me know. I'm going to keep going. Thank you for watching. If you have, you know, any questions that maybe I left out, or maybe if enough people like this, I'll interview my old roommates and see their side of the story. So anyway, y'all have a great day or night, whatever, and see you next time.